Bruh. Still don't know how to start these videos, so just bruh. Today is the 5th of March 2023, and this is yet another report from the Monkey Cave. I don't have much time today, so I'll try to make this one really dense, concise, and fast. First of all, let's check the overview of this week. As you may see, let me just remove my cursor from this screen, move my cursor away. As you may see, this one was poorly tracked, but still captured main trends during the week. As in the previous video, three main areas of concerns here are my work, which you can see depicted as WRK_peaks, university, which is HSE, and JavaScript, which is depicted as CRS, which stands for courses_JavaScript. I was engaged in much more activities, of course, but I simply forgot to track them. Now let's move to the thesis. This week, I finished writing my project proposal. My research supervisor checked it, and I finally uploaded it to our learning system yesterday. Apart from some minor corrections, the work appeared to be of a decent quality, so I'm pretty happy with the result. That was really clear, concise. So next is the planning part, and to be honest, as you may already seen, I failed to stick to the planning this week. Unfortunately, I've stuck upon the dilemma about what to track. What I mean by that is that do I have to track like only useful activities or just anything? For example, should I track like my meeting with friends or like going for a walk, which is like kind of sport, but not like the mindful sport. You just go and like burning some calories. But yesterday I decided to track all activities. So that I want to track basically, which I'll start, of course, doing next week. So what I mean by that is, for example, I do want to track how much time do I spend with my family, for example, and I'll try to like see these activities and not forget to set the timer for them. So the tracked amount of time is like representative in some sense, and yeah, basically that's it. However, during this week, I was managed to write a diary for 4 days in a row, which kind of balances my fatigue with tracking, which is, to be honest, not fatigue, but I just completely forgot to do this. So yeah, I still think that tracking and journaling should not like counter each other, but rather complement, and that's what I'll try to achieve next week. Now let's move to the TOEFL part. I've got my results yesterday, and they were like a little bit higher than I expected, which is a great thing. I was like kind of surprised. I managed to get 108 points out of 120 overall, with maximum points for the speaking section, which was totally surprising for me, as I thought that I haven't performed like on the like with my past capacity to perform, but still managed to get 30 points. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And to be honest, surprised. Yeah. What this thing does to me is that I finally feel relaxed, as I've passed so many of these English exams, but they like do not have any credibility outside of my university. So I've passed a lot of IELTS exams. We have this exam in Russia called Russian National Exam, which you have to like pass after you are graduating from high school. I think there are some like analogs outside Russia. For example, I think AP or so. Basically, the test you learn in Khan Academy is the A tests in United Kingdom. So I think something similar is in other like countries in Europe or North America. Basically, every country that have like this German university system. But for now, yeah, yeah, and I've passed English also for this, like after upon completion of my school, upon my school graduation. Um, but unfortunately, these like tests aren't worth anything outside Russia and outside university. And now, when I have a legit certificate with sufficient score, which is counted or considered to be like representative, so the university take it as the proof of your English proficiency. So now I like finally can move towards learning next language, prepare for my next exam, which is German, of course, as I'm planning to like study in Germany and like live there for a while. So, and overall, I find German pretty beautiful language. So definitely try to like amplify my efforts on doing it, learning it. As for the sports part, I haven't done anything this week. As we discussed in the previous video, I decided to take a break until I received the TOEFL score, and now when I have it, I guess I will start the exercises. First of all, like the paramount thing is that I plan to focus on two basic exercises, which are push-ups and squats. Like with the primary focus on squats. The idea here is that for now I'll try to stick to the most basic exercises overall. Uh, of course, I know that these even like they're considered to be so-called easy exercises, there's still plenty of depth going there. So about the biomechanics, about like the right technique, and these exercises are like easy to start and really hard to master, which I that's what I really need. And additionally, they training the large muscle groups, so the whole posterior chain, your back muscles, and by training basically your large muscle groups, you'll be able, yeah, to fight brain fog, which is one of priorities for me, and stay on lower stress level overall, as I think it's something connected with like with the cortisol. So it's somehow absorbed during the exercises or something like that. I still don't know the exact system behind it, but um, I've heard from multiple sources that training your large muscle groups will lower your cortisol levels, which result consequently in lower stress levels overall. Uh, yeah, so finally to the like so-called others part, and this week I want to highlight to like some sort of connected things, like the release of Lightfall in Destiny 2 and my continuing Great Land effort. I want to begin with the Lightfall, of course, which appeared to be like for me is the great DLC for the base game. I've seen a lot of complaints about it, but for the like 9 to 5 guy with the ongoing degree, like who am I? Who I am. Actually, this DLC was a chance to like return to the good old days when you don't have to worry about much and could just play games all day long. And for like to add a little bit of context here, um, I was playing Destiny 2 since its release in 2017, so it's been 6 years for now, and I was in school these days, and like everything was so much easier. You don't have all these like mental knots that you have to untie and like reason about. I think I was pretty successful in untying them, so I don't feel like bad or something for now, but still this level of complexity which I am faced today is much more higher and much more engaging and interesting, of course, that like compared to the one that was during my high school days. And Destiny is some sort of time travel for these good old days, as yeah, it's basically the only thing that remained from the high school, which reminds me of it. So I've already forgot all the material from high school, all my knowledge. Uh, I'm not like talking much with friends from high school, as they like went on completely different paths. So they've basically I think they've chosen the path of like the easy path, when you have to when you're watching YouTube videos, don't think much about anything. So you, of course, I don't think they're not struggling, but this struggle is like that's misleading struggle. That's what I mean. So when you, for example, watch YouTube all day, of course you'll be struggling because it's like really exhausting, just like glaring, or how like looking at a screen and all day. So of course you get fatigued, and of course that's suffer. So I don't like try to lower their levels of suffer or say that I am suffering more than them, but I guess that they suffering the wrong thing. So it's basically path to nowhere. So yeah, that's why kind of I still like talk to them, but not so much. So like just buddies that I know, but I don't consider them to be friends anymore. Um, so yeah, just because we like completely on completely different paths. Um, and as a cherry on top, like in Destiny 2, in the context of Destiny 2, you're presented with the choice between the subclasses, and of course, it was a problem for me to choose one. But on this like toy example of problem with the choice, um, like I got a good insight into how to choose my career path, which to be like to be precise, I understood that basically if you want to pursue the career of, like, for example, front end developer, it doesn't mean that you have to abandon your dreams in like so-called game development. Um, they may be serving completely different like fulfillment purposes. What I mean by that is, for example, I want to learn like JavaScript and maybe React, so become a good front-end engineer, like very holistic one who understands the end user, who understands like the product context, and who can build it. So that's one of my goals, to create a product which I will fully comprehend. So from the creating part to the end user, and front-end is a great place, which uh, like lays in this balance spot between interesting and something that you can be paid for. So yeah, I think it's a good like choice. So that's so-called the money need, and game development for me is just my need for like self-expressing. Yeah, I think so. Um, it's very vague, so I haven't really think through it. Haven't really like thought through it. But yeah, I think you don't have to abandon your dreams if you if you are moved towards becoming a front-end developer, front-end engineer, or product manager. So basically, these are two very like closely tied positions, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, the second part of this others part is the Great Land. It's been a week since I signed up for this challenge, and for now, I was able to hold my word. It's getting tremendously harder not to beat the meat, but I'm still standing. So yeah, um, I think that actually the pit of like temptation will be around 2-3 weeks mark uh, from now. So I'll just waiting for it. Um, One important thing this time is complete lack of social media. So all these like temptations are going from them, and as I've completely restricted myself from watching them, watching these clickbait views, watching these like photos, um, it helps me a lot not to like. F- it holds me from like falling into the pit of like pit of failure, let's call it so. um, how I managed to achieve this, I was trying to fight my addiction, yeah, social media addiction for quite a while from now. So I have a library of browser extensions, which makes YouTube completely absent of any algorithms and any previews. So I use YouTube only as a search when I want to specifically look one video. So yeah. And for like other social media platforms, I completely signed out from them, like Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, our local social medias. So I just completely signed out from them, and that's it. On mobile, I've made a 1 minute daily restriction from all sorts of BS apps. So yeah, and I have another like stopping mechanisms which I kind of developed over the years. When things go completely wrong, I'll log in back into my social media just to change password on like a randomly generated one from like the LastPass thing. Then I'll like change this password and log off without like recording this password at all. So in order to log back, you'll have to basically click the forget password button and go through this procedure of like logging back in, like restoring your password. So yeah, yet another barrier for my lizard brain to like push through in order to achieve what it wants from social media. But for now, I'm like still saying I don't think that these desperate measures are needed. Definitely. So yeah. Now let's go for the last part of our video. Finally, I can mark this week as succeed. So we have to succeed weeks in a row, which is nice. I also written my thoughts on conclusion of this leap, which we're like getting close to the end, which also a great thing to hear that I've actually sticked to this system, which means that the system is loose enough for me to maneuver and to guide myself. So, but I guess we'll review it in the last week. So week 10 will be dedicated to reviewing the sleep and setting the goals for the next one. So yeah, hope it didn't last more than 15 minutes, let's say. It's 17 minutes already, so without any further words, stay strong, monkeys, and see you on the next week. Boo-boo.